odd-numbered tables with a burning need. I've learned one thing in this process so far, is that universities cannot count to 3. Those were very good lists, though. Let's turn immediately to the last topic. We'll stay on task and perhaps be just a bit early out the door. You're now going to be dealing with the final roundtable discussion. That is now going to be, again, your scribe with the tan paper. And the question is, what are the 3 most, and you begin to delve into this, what are the 3 most important responsibilities or roles for the University of Maine System to ensure future prosperity for Maine citizens? I would also make the announcement, as you're working in about 10 minutes, there'll be some refreshments in the area right outside where the coffee has been, and feel free. But in about 20 minutes, I will call you back for the odd-numbered tables to report. Thank you. Thank you very much. We're now as we come towards the end of it, we've got a couple more things where we need your attention. And I appreciate all of you who have both the time and the energy to stick with it. We're now going to be doing some reporting on the 3rd question. I will call forward people from, I'll just list 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. If you have a reporter, or if those tables are occupied, here we come. We can add 11, 13, and 15. So we're up to 15. If you've got if you're at one of those tables, please come forward.
Hi, I'm Ginny Carroll with Table 9. There was a lot of energy on this question from our table. First of all, one of the most important things that we felt was that we need to ensure that there's graduate and advanced level education opportunities, because it is those levels of education that are going to train the people who are going to be training the workforce and educating the future students. And the other aspect was that the model of the land grant has an historical mission to support community areas and to educate and research people based on their own natural resources, and to provide a broad understanding of society and where we fit in that, our ethics, our values, human rights and community engagements, for example. Some of the table felt that we definitely need better connections with K-12 and to create better specific pathways all the way up through to the PhD level. And that might involve changing the lengths of semesters, when and how the courses get offered, and prioritizing the financial aid for those students to be able to access those different levels was also one of the concerns. There was some discomfort with looking at jobs in Maine and thinking that we can, what's the term here? Model the training to fit just those needs. So, for example, here was one of the statements that came out. If I saw a list that listed Java as one of the skill sets, then I would tell my students to discard that, because 5 or 10 years from now, that would be an obsolete skill set. So we have to be careful about, I guess, listing specific skills as part of the goal to educate a workforce. Lots of support for interdisciplinary support at the graduate level of education and educators also. And in looking at the K-12 education system, to pay attention to how standardized testing actually does not trigger innovation or innovative thinking. And so to relook at how that particular system is identifying what the skill sets are that folks have to have, I guess. And don't spend money on things that aren't essential to education. And I won't go into great detail there because we don't want to embarrass anybody. But there was one other thing at the table that I think was really important, and that was we need to see Maine in the global landscape. So the perspective of where we are in comparison to all of that. And possibly take a look at the educational traditions and changes in other cultures and countries so that we can nab the best practices. That was more than 3, I know.
Very thoughtful.
Hello, I'm Shira Patterson with the City of Bangor and representing Table 11. And the 3 items that I'll highlight from our discussion were breaking down the silos across the system to operate the system in an efficient and effective way. And one of the examples of that was perhaps having summits like this twice a year. People felt like this was a really valuable experience. Another, modeling innovation for the state. So modeling innovation within the system structure, and this could encourage others to do so as well. And streamlining the way information is shared with the general public. And an idea was a partnership with public radio and public television to reach the general public, perhaps showing lectures, forums like this, entertainment that happens on the campuses on public television or radio so people know what's going on.
Hi, I'm Bruce Peel from Maine Department of Labor and table number 13, and I have a couple qualifiers first. First, it was apparent from our discussion that we hadn't finished with question 2 yet. And we're no better at counting to 3 than any of the other tables. Our first point was we need to improve communications. We need to work better together, especially between the community colleges and the university systems. Need to bring together groups and programs across the campuses. For example, there was a former physics teacher group that used to meet periodically at the different campuses and discuss what needs to be done in the physics department. They would also bring physics teachers from the high school and reciprocate to try to help the program in that way also. Also need to look at the role of the community colleges and university systems. The community college maybe should perhaps, or discuss anyways, going back to more vocational things and maybe having the university system do associate's degrees. Again, that's a point for discussion, not an opinion. The system needs to be more flexible, not just have 2 or 4 year programs, but offer maybe some certificate programs, offer more flexible class times for more traditional students. We need to open up as a community resource, perhaps use the buildings that are closed in the summer for programs for displaced workers or night schools for people who want to continue education who aren't working. It's also important that we're accountable to the citizenry. We've been passing bonds periodically. Do the citizens know what became of that money and what the results were for all that money we spent? So we need to report on the results of the investment. We need maybe a better use of our websites to post those results. Also advertise our programs. Somebody brought an example of the incubator site for Maine was not available, but for other states it's vibrant and with all the businesses that are connected to it, and it would help to advertise those programs a little bit better with better websites. Finally, we need to be a catalyst for change and do such things as the innovation engineering that we heard about earlier today.